Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get the meeting started. It looks like we have several people on board, so thank you all very much. I have muted everyone's microphone so that you can't speak to us at the moment, but you may use the live chat on the side and send me some questions. I'll be glad to answer any questions at the end of the training. Keep in mind that we do this training every Wednesday in the morning at 10 a.m. and in the afternoon at 4 p.m., both in Eastern time. And you are welcome to reattend any or all the training sessions that you want, anytime you want. They are also being recorded and will be posted live here at campuscontact.com/training, where you'll be able to come back and review any of the sessions at any time you want on your own terms and own time. So, quick introduction, I'm Rob Frierson with Campus Contact, and we are going to show you about a little bit about the system, how it works, how to manage content, and just the basics of the system. We're not going to dive deeply into the usage of all of the different widgets and some of the higher level features and functions in the system, but we will be doing additional training for specific widgets and specific functions later on. So stay tuned, watch our blog or Facebook and Twitter sites for updates and information about additional detailed training. If you do have any questions in the future, you can always hit us up here at campuscontact.com, click on the support link, and from there you can ask us any questions that you might have. You can submit a trouble ticket down below here, or you can search our extensive knowledge base that has a lot of information about how to manage the websites, and all of the features and stuff that I'm not going to have time to get into today is located here as well. And of course, you can also email us or call us anytime at the top of the site on every page, 888-242-2685. And at the bottom left, you can click this little floaty guy over here and ask our support folks any questions that you might have as well. So there's lots and lots of ways for you to reach us if you have any problems, questions, anything you want to know. So come back and let us know what we can do to help you out. Let's jump right into a website and learn how to manage your new Campus Contact website. The new sites have no login on the website, and we've done that for security purposes. In the past, our sites all had a little login link at the bottom, and that did generate some unwanted traffic on that login link, and it also kind of created a slight security vulnerability that we have now eliminated. So instead of logging in at the site, you will now log in at admin.campuscontact.com. And when we create your new user account, you'll get this URL in an email where you can create your own, your own password for your account. And let me log in here. I'm going to log in as a demo account. So when you log into the site, it'll look something like this at admin.campuscontact.com. And you'll probably only see one site if you're allowed to see and manage only one site. If you're a district level manager and you're allowed to have access to multiple sites, you'll see them all listed here. So you might see 5, 10, 20 different sites, or maybe if you're allowed to have access to 1 or 2 sites, then you'll see both of those sites here as well. So it really depends on your own permissions that are granted by the district level folks. So in here, you'll see your website, and you can click on the edit to jump right into it and start editing. We can click on a preview to see the site, just want to see how it looks. In the different modes, we can do that. Or we can also click on the stats to see what kind of traffic the site has been getting. Now, this particular demo site doesn't really get any traffic, but there is a built-in analytics function in the site that will show you traffic to the site. In this case, of course, there's none. But in your sites, of course, you'll be getting traffic, so that stats function will be useful for you. A little over to the right, you'll also see your ability to manage your store if your store has been turned on for your site, as well as form responses. In the past, forms and responses were related to every individual form. And a lot of times people were kind of lost. They couldn't even find their form, much less find the responses to those forms. So now we have a centralized form repository so that all forms go to one location. This particular one doesn't have any, of course. Again, it's just a demo site. But if there were any forms on the site that people were responding to, I'd be able to access them all right here in one central location, and we would see all the forms and all of the responses for all those forms in one location. So it's nice to have everything centralized, and it makes it really easy. In this case, we're going to dive right in and start editing our website. Before I do, I can see when it was created. I can also see when it was last published, and that's helpful for the higher level folks, the district folks. If you want to see when your people last updated their site, it'll tell you the last time it was published was June 26th. Obviously, that was me today for this morning's training. So let's jump right in, and we're just going to click on the edit link. And now we're taken into our website in edit mode. And we know we're in edit mode because across the top of our site, we see this black bar that has some options, and along the side is some additional options that we're going to be messing with and talking about today. And if you don't see that, then you're either not logged in, or you could be in preview mode, which is over on the far right-hand side, which allows you to see the site and utilize the site, testing all the links and all the other functions, just as if you were logged out of it. And of course, it hides the options on the left. It still shows the options on the right. So if you're in preview mode, you can't access those options on the left. And so you just click the option up here at the top right to go back to the editor, put you back in edit mode, and now you can access everything you need to in the site. Starting at the left, we've got this drop down that lets you quickly jump to any page in the site. You can see we can just jump right to any site. Of course, you can also do this in the navigation itself. So if you want to click on any particular link, you can just click on it. It will take you directly to that page. You can also, the options to the right of it, view the site in different modes to see how it's going to look on different devices. So I can click on a tablet view, and I can see how this website's going to look and function in a tablet mode. Lets me just see how it's going to work, as well as on a mobile device. So it simulates how the site's going to look on the different devices, and you can tell exactly what the issues are, if there are any, and correct those on, for each device. A little further over, we've got a new option. It's called the search editor, and you can type in just about anything. Well, let's see, maybe not FV, but if I just type in PHO, I've got lots of options for photo galleries and photo sliders and image sliders and lots of different things. So it's just an area where you can do a quick search for just about anything on the site, and it'll help you find all sorts of stuff. Also at the top, the little I will show you information about your website, show you your site URL, your site name. It'll show you the status of the site so you know that it's published. Also a preview link in case you need to ever share the site with somebody before it goes live. Obviously, once it goes live, you're going to share the actual URL of the site, which is what's seen in site info, which would be this case, training.campuscontact.com. You'll also have another link to stats, so you can see the stats that we just talked about momentarily a moment ago, but you can also click on Open Stats, and it'll take you back to that same location as well. And last are the languages for the editor. If you have folks who are editing the sites and maybe they want to edit in a different language, they can edit the site in all sorts of different languages as well. We have a little check mark up here at the right, and that basically just shows you that all changes have been saved. And as you're editing your website, you'll see it'll change from 3 little dots to a check mark. Every time you see the check mark, you know that everything you did is just saved. There is no actual save button, but everything in the site is automatically and instantly saved as soon as you click away from it. So if you're adding new text and you click away, that text is saved. If you're adding a button or a photo or a page or whatever it may be, just click away from it and it's saved immediately. So it's a really nice feature knowing that everything is auto-saved all the time, indefinitely. There's also an undo button and a redo button. So if you make any changes, if you come in here and you delete something and you say, what have I done? I deleted something. Don't worry about it. You can delete all kinds of stuff. You can just simply hit the undo button. And you can go really, really far back. We think it's almost 100 steps back in your undo and recover just about anything that you might do. So as you're going along through the site, especially as you're learning it early on, don't be afraid to make some changes. Don't be afraid to break some stuff. Get in there and bang on it and see what you can do. And if you mess something up or you do something you don't like, hit that undo button and it will undo it. For those of you who are into coding, either at HTML or CSS level, there is an option to get into the code level. We're certainly not going to do that today, but just know that it's there. And if you want to dig into the code at some point, either at the HTML or the CSS or anything else about the site, you have total access and control to all of it, and you can get pretty crazy with it. We're not going to talk about that today, but just know that there is an option for you to manage HTML and CSS either globally or for every individual item throughout the site. So there's a lot of control if you want to get into the code level, which we don't generally teach. But if anyone has any questions or wants specifics about that, we can get into that later. Again, we have the preview option. Just takes you out of the edit mode and into the preview mode, and then out of preview back into edit mode. There's also a help link, which if you click that, it will take you back to the same place that our support site links you to. All of the information that you'll ever need to know about managing anything and everything in the website. So there's a tremendous amount of documentation and information there for you as well. And last is the dashboard home link. If you have multiple sites, or just when you're done, you can click that home link and it will take you back to your dashboard so that you can either jump to another site or just log out from here by mousing over your name and clicking the sign out link. I'm going to go back to our site by clicking the edit button. And now I'm back at our site. I can tell because I've got that bar across the top, and I've got some options on the left. Starting on the left, at the very top, we've got the design button. Now, design is generally done by us, and I generally recommend that you don't make any changes here. However, it is available to you, and if you want to come in and change these options, that is totally up to you. There is an option for you to change the global text in terms of the font, the sizes, and colors, and bolds, and all kinds of things. You can also change buttons, global button styles. If you want to come and play with some of the different buttons, there are a lot of different button styles available, as well as managing the button colors and borders and shadows and hover options and the text on those buttons and alignment and all kinds of things with buttons. Same with images. How do you want your images in your website to look? Are they going to have borders, rounded corners, shadows, maybe some different styles or shapes? These are, again, global changes, not individual changes. So anything that you set here will apply to every photo in the website. So again, these are global that I really don't recommend that you change. Just know that they are there, as well as site background and site layout and some other options. So while they are here, and I am taking the time to just poke at it for a little bit, again, I recommend that you do not make any changes in the design area. If you do get in there and you find out that you just messed it all up, there is an option to roll back your site and restore it to any previous version, which I'll show you when we get down to the settings. So just know that while I don't recommend you play in there, you can, but if you break it, you're on your own and you can restore it if you need to. Page management. We can create as many pages as we want in the site, up to 3 levels deep. And creating pages is really simple. Just click in the new page option, name your page, select the page type, and add it to the list. It will then add that new page to the bottom here, and you can drag and drop your pages as much as you want, moving things around. In my last class, I actually created a page called My New Page, and I'm going to delete that page by clicking on that icon on the right, that little gear, and go to delete, because I'm going to create a new page and lots of new stuff for this particular class. When you're adding pages, try to keep the page names short. Really, really long page names means really, really long menus, which also can be a problem, especially on mobile devices. So try to keep your page names to 1 or 2 words maximum, and try to keep them short. So if it's a history class or something about, American literature, maybe US Lit or AmLit or something short will be sufficient to describe the page instead of you writing out something very long title. So again, just try to keep your page names short. Again, you can drag and drop. Well, let's go ahead and create a new page. And we can do that by clicking the Add New Page option. And we get this pop-up. You're going to get pop-ups all throughout the site depending on what you're doing. And in this case, we're going to add a new page. And we have the option of creating a blank page, which is just that, a blank page. We can create a page URL, which is a page that you can link to another website. So for example, if you have a page that you want, actually an item in your navigation that you want to link to PowerSchool, you can create a page URL that will allow you to call the page PowerSchool as well as enter the URL for PowerSchool. And then when users click on it, it's not going to open a page in your website. It's going to redirect the user from your website to that page or that other URL that you put in the page settings. There are also some pages that are pre-designed for you that are just beautiful templates, such as the About Us page type. And you can see a sample on the right. Our team pages, great for portfolios or any kind of group folks. Restaurant menus. Really, it's more for cafeteria menus, and so you can do a lot on a restaurant menu page. Locations, which is great for multi-location school systems. A Contact Us page. Services page. Portfolio, maybe you want to put a lot of photos on here about different departments or different events, different kinds of projects for project pages, and even landing pages if you're going to have different landing pages for specific events maybe that are coming up. Things like registration. Maybe create a landing page just for that and turn it on for a certain time and turn it off for when it's not needed. And last would be a folder. It's actually called a folder page. And what this would be is a page that you can't really click on. It's not a fully functional page. It's more of a placeholder for a group of pages. So thinking about your website, if you have an area in your navigation called departments, under departments you might have PE and HR and technology and lots of different departments under the word department. But if they clicked on department, it would actually be blank because there's really nothing there. They would just simply mouse over the word department, and under that would be all of the other departments that they click on. So it's kind of a folder heading for a group of pages. We'd call it a folder page. So we'll get back to that again later on. Right now, let's just create a blank page. Blank page, we'll call it my test page, whatever you'd like, and add. And now you'll see my new test page is at the bottom of the list. I can drag that page anywhere I want. If I want to make that page a child page so that it would be under the home page, I can just drag it to the right, and you'll see it's disappeared from the top here, and now it's under my home page as my test page. I want to bring it back out and make it a top level page, just drag it to the left. Now you'll see it's back at the top there, and it is a top level page once again. So my new page is blank. We haven't added anything to it yet. So now we're going to go and add some content to this new page. And really for just the ease of thinking about managing your website, it's really as simple as 3 steps. You're going to create a page. You're going to add widgets to that page, and then you're going to add content to the widget, whether it's verbiage for news and announcements or documents or photos or whatever it would be. Really, it's just a simple 3-step process. Add a page, add a widget, add content to the widget. And so that's what we're going to do. We've added a page called My Test Page. Right now, there's nothing on our page yet, so we're going to add some stuff to that. And that's under the next button called Widgets. And if I click on the widget option, another window slides out, and these are all the items and things that you can add to your page. And it's a list that's continually growing as we develop more and more features for the site. And you can come in here and play with all these different things. We're not going to have time today to go through all of them. We will have additional classes later on that will go into a little bit more depth of all of the different widgets. But for now, if you just look at we'll just go through the list here and we'll add some to the page. Text is really just that. It's an area of just plain text where you'll get your standard WYSIWYG text editor that allows you to add and type any kind of text, paste text from other sites, just plain text. Also images. If you just want to put a photo on a page, maybe you want to put a photo above or next to some text that you created. That would be the image widget. And we have icons, tons and tons of icons. There's literally thousands of icons for anything you can imagine. You can add icons, you can have them spin and enlarge and do all kinds of things when you mouse over them, as well as link to different locations. So if you're going to put a phone icon on a page and you want to link that to a phone number or an email or whatever it may be, you can create icons and link them to different places very easily. There's also a click to call option where people can click maybe on a mobile device, ideally, and that will call any number that you set it to, as well as a map. So you can see maps it uses Google Maps so that you can access any location, driving directions to any of your sites. Image slider. This is your standard image gallery that moves, so you'll have a lot of images in a site or in an area, generally for header type situations where you'll have rotating groups of images. Photo gallery is more of a static area, a collection of photos that people can click on just to view different photos that you've posted. Of course, there's buttons, standard buttons that you would click on. You can label your buttons and then manually link them to wherever you want them to go. HTML, you can add any kind of HTML or code from any third-party source or type your own HTML if you're familiar with that. So you can create all kinds of additional features far beyond just what we've got here in the list using the HTML widget. There's large titles, so if you want to put a large piece of text in there, you can do that using the H1 tag. Forms, although it's called a contact form, it's really the form builder that you'll use to create any and all kinds of forms throughout your website. So that's the contact form function. There's additional ones that are pretty self-explanatory, like dividers. It's simply a horizontal divider between different pieces of content. You can have lists of content. You can have different columns. And we'll do a lot with different columns shortly. Have a countdown timers, tabbed content. A read more is kind of like an announcement option where you might have a little blurb of information and say, click here to read more. It's just a read more pop-up kind of thing. The ADA widget is something that we apply to every website by default, so you should not have to add that to your site. We'll do that for you, but it is there in case you want to manage that or delete it accidentally and want to re-add it yourself. You can do that. There's a staff directory widget. In fact, I believe there are 2, possibly 3 now, as there's also text and images. So if you're going to have an image and put some text around it, so instead of just plain text or just an image, you have text and image in one single paragraph. There's a copyright option if you want to add that to the bottom of your site. And there are calendars. Of course, everyone knows about calendars, but there are actually also 2 different types of calendar. There's a standard calendar where you manage all that content and information here on the website, as well as a Google Calendar, which is a little bit further down the list, so that you can integrate your own Google Calendar quickly and easily within the website. The search function is usually built into the skin of your website for you by us, and that's not something you'll need to add to your website, but if you do need to add a search function, let us know. We can help you with that. It is there for you, though, as well. Accordion is an expandable message area, so if you have a lot of information that you want to put in a very small area that people can just click on, it can expand and show them that. There's information sliders, so that you can have a news slider. You might have a group or actually a collection of information that can slide so that people can click on it and view lots of different news bits and pieces. An iframe will allow you to view another website within your website. So if you want to embed, say, PowerSchool, you can actually put an iframe on a page, put your PowerSchool URL in that frame, and they can view PowerSchool directly within your website without having to leave it. A lot of people also use the iframe to view documents, so directly on the page. So that's another thing you can do with it. You can also add a list of links, a back to top button, which is generally built into the site by default. Right now, this page doesn't have anything on it, so we are at the top. But if you added a longer page, such as the campus contact site, down at the bottom right-hand side, you'll see a little button you click on, and it brings you back to the top of the site. There's images, image sliders, photo galleries, just as I mentioned above, icons, and videos. Videos are actually handled through YouTube, and so all videos should be uploaded directly by you into your own YouTube or Vimeo account, and you'll simply add the tag for that video directly in your video widget here, and it will display and play that video on your website. We do that for security purposes as well as to keep your website fast, and it just kind of removes a lot of complications by you uploading it at YouTube, of course with unlimited video sizes, and simply embedding that link over here in the video widget. Shapes are very similar to icons, but you can do a little bit more with them, where you can add more verbiage and have them expand and do lots of different things, as well as click and link those things to different places. Before and after is kind of a slider image thing. So if you had an old school building and a new school building, you can put both of those images in here and people can slide back and forth and see the old and the new in one location. There's an events preview. It's kind of a list of events. It's a standalone events option, not connected to the other events or calendar widget, but you can have a slider or a list either horizontally or vertically of events for your site. A filter photo gallery allows you to put a lot of different photos in one location and have them grouped so that if you have, let's say, a gallery for band could be lots of things, symphonic or concert or jazz or whatever kind of band you want. You might have a bunch of band photos and then just simply group them, filter them based on the type of images that users might want to see. Photo slider allows them to have a continuously scrolling list, either horizontally or vertically, of photos that you can also grab and move manually on a cell phone or tablet. Same with videos. And this is what we commonly use for our own collection of videos, so the video slider, as well as audio files and even flip image, where you can put a photo on a page. If you mouse over it or click on it, it will flip over and show some additional text. Of course, we have the click to call option again and maps. We can also integrate Open Table and some other third-party apps in here as well. Links to email. Here's our forms again. Integrate PayPal. If you want to receive payments through the website for PayPal, maybe for donations or whatever reason you're collecting payments, you can use the PayPal. You can put in hours, Yelp reviews, restaurant menus. If you've got multi-locations on a map as opposed to just a single location, you can have all those locations show up in one single map. You can create coupons. Yep, coupons. So if you're doing something special, like you're selling, I don't know, band chocolates or whatever the case may be, you can sell items all year long, but maybe during a certain part of the year, if you're doing a big drive for it, you might create coupons. And so you can even create your own coupons. Online scheduling, this is utilizing a third-party system that is a great way of scheduling events and things in your school system. Countdown timers, Yext is another third-party application. The Google Calendar, as I mentioned earlier, where you can integrate with Google. Also Google Translate, there's another additional type of counter. And member listing, which is what we often use for staff directories as well. Then we've got another section that's just for social icons, for sharing social links, Twitter, of course, Facebook comments, icons, RSS feeds. Integrate WhatsApp, which is a messaging application. Some people like the social icons sticking to the left or the right or bottom or top of their website. That's using the sticky social icons. There's Discus Comments as well, which is another third-party website for commenting on just about everything. You can embed your entire Facebook feed or Instagram feed, as well as mentioned up here, Twitter feed. So you can embed the entire feed in the site. as I showed at the top, there's the HTML. You can manage navigational links, create different tables, add your own live chat function in the site. So just like we have on our website, a live chat option where anybody in the world can contact one of our folks, you may even want to consider adding a live chat for your own school system so that parents and other people can contact somebody at your district immediately with any questions they may have. As I mentioned briefly, there is a store option in your website. And if your store is turned on, you can manage your store and shopping carts, search items in your store, as well as manage different categories in the store. If you don't have a store and you need it set up, just contact us and we'll be happy to go through the setup with you. There are quite a few different steps in the store setup process because there's a lot of things that different people want out of their different stores. So we'll walk that part through with you. If you're looking for a specific widget, you just can't find it based on this giant list of items, you can just type it in here and you'll find it right here. So if you just start typing whatever it's called, if it's text, type in the word text and you'll see the different things that show up for text. So if you don't know what it was called and you're looking for one specific thing, just start typing and the widget list will be shortened to show you items that match what it is that you're searching for. So we're going to add a widget to our page, but before that, let's continue down the list on the left-hand side and talk about some of these other items real quick. So there's a file manager, we call it content. And in this area, you can manage images for your site. By default, there's thousands of images in here already available for you that you can select from for just about anything. But if we've migrated your site from an old school desk site to Campus Contact, then you'll also find that all of your old photos are in here as well. If you're new to Campus Contact and we're not migrating your site from some other location, then you may not have any photos in here yet, but we'll certainly work with you to do that. But you can upload as many photos in here as you want. It's a simple drag and drop. Grab all the photos from your desktop or other sources and drop them right into this image manager. So it's a nice way to manage your photos. Likewise, your files. Any and all files in the website can just be dragged right over here and access them here as well. I'm seeing just JPEGs for this particular site because there's apparently no documents loaded here yet. But you can. This would generally be where your PDF and Word, PowerPoint, Excel documents will be located. And the rest of the items you don't really need to manage or mess with much, but feel free to go and explore there. Further down the list on the left is the personalize option, which we're not going to get into today, but it's a fun, really incredible piece of the whole website system that allows you to create different pop-ups or different pages or information that displays to users based on the date or time or where they come from for their website. So for example, if there's a school closure, you could do a notification bar and display that at the top of the site so that people would know that maybe school is closed due to inclement weather or some other kind of issues. There's a lot of different personalization options in here, things for holidays and off hours and all sorts of different things that you can play with in here. So feel free to come in here and play with the different personalization options on your own, or catch us during any of our other classes where we're going to highlight specific training just for this. But know that the personalization option is there for you. A little further down is the store. If your store has been added for you, if it's not been added for you, we'll have to add it for you. But once your store has been added, this is where you'll come in and manage all of your categories and all of the different things related to your store. You all will not be able to add it yourself, but we'll be able to add it for you. And at that point, you'll be able to manage it and see all the different items and prices and all that kind of stuff for your store. So we can do that for you. Likewise, the blog, you can add a new blog, and this is something you can do, and I encourage you to do so. Add your own blog to the site and keep it interesting. So this is where you can create blogs for different departments or different users, maybe a superintendent or principal blog, and you can blog about events happening at the school or in your area, or just information that you think your readers might be interested in. So blogging is a great way to communicate with your folks, and it's a good way to create recurring traffic back to the website by your folks. And last is the settings option on the bottom. And in settings, there are generally quite a few options in here for you. Things like the site icons, the favicon, that's what shows up at the very top of your site. In our case, it's the little C, the Campus Contact logo is the very top in the tab there. That's called a favicon. Networks, a social networks image, you can create that as well. That will be displayed on Facebook, LinkedIn, other social platforms, as well as an icon for mobile or tablet use if your site is utilizing the app function where your site is actually created as a progressive web app. That's the very bottom item on the list. So you can create an icon for that. SEO, I highly recommend that you take a few minutes at some point to manage the SEO or search engine optimization settings. This is how your site is found on the search engines like Google and Yahoo and Bing and whatnot, by managing your site title and description and keywords. And these things are very important to being discovered. So if you're such and such school district, you at least want to put your site title and the district name and keywords in here that you want to be discovered on. It's going to be very important. Also are the Google Analytics. If you use Google Analytics, which you don't need to because our site has its own analytics system built in, but if you use Google Analytics, simply paste the tracking code that Google Analytics gives you, paste that in here, and it will immediately start pulling content for analytics. URL redirect will generally set this up for you, and this would be the name, or actually the URL that people would type to get to your website. For example, this one is actually called training.campuscontact.com, and yours may be called something.campuscontact.com initially, but then when you're ready for your site to go live, we'll utilize your own domain like school system, blah, 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 whatever.com. We'll use your URL instead of our URL and point that directly to it. There's also the ability to manage your own custom header information, and you can restore your website from any previous version. You can see it's actually been doing restorations at every single time you publish it. It will create a restore point, so you can go back to any previous version. Site language again, any privacy information that you'd like to create. You can create your own privacy page. Simply turn that on, and you can add that to your site. As well as the cookie notification. That's that little thing that pops up at the bottom of your site. You see that a lot, especially from European websites. It's called GDPR, and if you ever want to add that to your site for any reason, you can, as well as managing your 404 page. And last is the progressive web app, which basically turns your website into an app that people can use on different devices. So as they visit the website, it will give them the option to save your entire website on their cell phone or tablet or whatever it may be as a progressive web app, so they can instantly load your website just as if it were an app, just as if it were in a browser, but actually going through an app. So it's a much faster and easier way to browse your website. So after all that's said and done, let's go add some content to our new page. We've added our page by going to pages. We add a new page. We called it My Test Page, and it's blank. Let's go add some stuff to it. We call that stuff the widgets, and all we have to do is click on widgets and drag those things over to the page. So if I want to add text to my page, click text and drag it onto the page, and I can now start typing. If I'm a little more careful with my new mouse, I can add some new text right here on the page. And because this is a standard WYSIWYG text editor, it's what you see is what you get. So if you want to make things bold, italics, underline, whatever it may be, click on the buttons here, and you can make them underline and italics, and maybe make the colors different. So now we got some pink text. We can go back and edit that text at any time. We can change the font sizes of the text. Click on font, or the size here. Any size you want. Any kind of font families. There's a ton of different fonts available for you, so just grab one that you like and play around with some of the different fonts that are in there. These are all Google fonts, and they'll all work beautifully on any device. So they're universally known as web accessible, web friendly fonts. So come in here and play with some of the new fonts. There's a ton of new stuff in here. You can also manage the alignment, left or right or centered, line height, maybe the bullets, you want to add some bullets or numbers to your sites, or maybe just remove everything. You can remove all the changes that you've made, or when you're done, just click the little green check and you're done. So there's your content on your new page. So to manage that, again, you just click right on it and add whatever it is. It's very similar to PowerPoint, where if you've got some items on your page, you simply click on it and start typing and add it right there on the page. Once you're done and you've clicked away, keep in mind that it's automatically saved. So it's live, it's done, it's there. Nothing else for you to do except for click your publish button, which right now it's actually hidden. This particular user, and probably for you as well initially, you may not have the publish option. The publish option appears when it's turned on for you by us, but it does allow you to publish all of these changes. After you've made these changes on your site, they're actually not live on your website until you click the republish button. So no matter what I do on this test site here, it's actually not going to show up on my site at training.campuscontact.com. And we do that for a reason, of course, that we don't want people pushing weird stuff or unsavory things out to a live website. But toward the top right, you'll have a big blue button that says republish, and you'll just need to make sure that you push that button to add new content to it. So right now I've got kind of a squished page here. I've got a yellow bar at the very top in my header area, and I can tell that my mouse is over the header area because it gives me this orange underline area and the word header, so I know I'm in the header area. Likewise, if I go down below my content, I'll soon now see that I'm in the footer area of the site. I don't really want to add a lot of widgets or anything in here because this is my header and my footer, and anything you add in these two sections will be seen throughout the entire site on every page. So as you're adding content, don't add it in the header, don't add it in the footer, because it will be everywhere unless that's specifically what you want it to do. Instead, you're going to add your content in different rows. So we're going to treat your website like it's a big table. It's going to have rows and it's going to have columns. By default, any new page that you create only has one single row, and I can see that if I mouse over on my page here, my area, it shows the blue box at the top left that says row. That's because this is a row of content. And I can add as many widgets to any row as I want. I can add more text widgets. I can add all kinds of stuff to it. Or I can simply right-click on the word row and add a new row. I can edit the design of this existing row or add a new row above this. And even if you want it below, just click Add Row Above, and then you can move it down as well. So I've added a new row, and I can see that by moving my mouse up a little bit, and now I've got this whole new row as opposed to my old row. And you can add as many rows as you want. Right-click, Add Row Above. Now you've added another row. And these rows are where you're going to put your content. Again, it's these little widgets on the left, and you just grab them and drag them over to the side. Let's say, for example, image slider. Grab it, drag it to the side, and it will present you this pop-up where you can then manage the photos. I'm going to close that for a minute just so you can see how it looks. Here's the slider. I put it in my top row. I still have a blank row there because I haven't added anything to it. And I've got my original row that I've added a piece of text to. Let's go back to the top, my photo slider widget that I added to the top row. If I click on anything, it pops up, and I get a pop-up box that allows me to manage the content and the design. And there are very distinct items. So the content is the stuff that you provide, whether it's a photo or text or specific information relating to your website. Design is how does it look, not anything related to the content. So content and design, that distinction is very important for you to know. A lot of times you're going to manage just the content by changing photos. If you want to add a new photo to the site, you can just simply click it and add it there. And now I have a new photo. Or I want to manage the design of this image or this particular gallery or item. And when I click on the design tab, I have lots of different design options. And you'll have different options depending on which widget it is. So every widget will have its own set of different design options, whether it's font styles or frames or borders or whatever it may be. In this case, different styles of galleries. This one has options with text on the photo or text below the photo, or maybe no text on the photo at all, depending on what you want there. We'll just turn off. You'll see there's no text under it. If I go back to it and go to design, I can click on the different layout options, and now I've got an option that shows text below my photo. Of course, there are also additional design options, like if I want to change the width of it, maybe I want to change the height of it. I can do display the full image. I can change an overlay, maybe add a text overlay color, so my text shows up on a certain color bar. Maybe I can add a different border. Want to add a little border around it? Go right ahead. You can add borders and do all kinds of fun stuff as you go along. You can make it left and right and different positions. You can add different arrows. So there's lots of different options, again, for every widget that you add to the site. In this case, these are the options for the photo slider. Again, we're not going to go through every widget in here. This would take a little bit of time to do so. So I highly recommend that you create a test page and you just go play and start adding stuff to it and play around, and you'll see that it's extremely easy to add whatever you want, wherever you want. Once you've added content to your site, don't worry about where it is initially, because you can drag and drop content anywhere. So if I wanted this text above my photo slider, I can simply drag it from there up here, and now it's above my photo slider. Want to move my photo slider down, just grab it and move it wherever you want. I can move it to, anywhere really. I want to move it back above my text. So again, you can see that I can move stuff anywhere I want, and just by simply dragging it and dropping it, I can move it around quite easily. So that's an easy thing to do. You can also resize into the content by putting your mouse over it. So like this text area, I can drag it smaller, make it wider or smaller. So let's go add a couple more widgets, and then we'll talk about the sections to make these widgets look good. So for example, if I want to add some links, I can just drag that out to the page and start filling in some links. The links. There's a link to Google. When you're creating links, you can link to all kinds of different places, to existing pages in your website, to any third-party website URL. You can create pop-up messages as well as anchor links to anything in the website. Create links directly to store items, email addresses, click to call so that people can call directly just by clicking on it. And last would be a file that you might want to have people download. So lots of different things you can do with links. I'll just do the website URL since we're going to link to Google. Here's our link to Google. Just click away from it. We've got a little green check here that shows it's actually done and working. And we're done. So there's a link to Google. Not real pretty yet, but if we want to make it prettier, we can simply click on it. We get that pop-up that I mentioned a while ago. There's our content, which is all of the links we're going to add, but also the design options that allow us to change the format of links of just about anything. We can change the header style, make it big title. We can make the link colors different. We can do all kinds of things utilizing the design option. Add borders around it, background colors, anything you want, you can do really quickly and easily. Again, these are all different widgets, and you can simply drag and drop widgets to the page as much as you want. The last one I want to show you are columns. And so sometimes you're going to want to put things side by side on your page on a different row, and we call those columns. So again, it's like a table where we're going to have rows that go horizontally and columns that go vertically. And dragging one of these column widgets out to the page actually creates its own row. So I'll grab the 3 columns. Don't worry about how many, because we can add more later. I'm just going to grab this, drag it out to the page. And you'll see it actually added a whole new row just for that column widget. But now I've got 3 different columns. I've got one on the left, one in the middle, and one on the right. I can change the size of any of those by putting my mouse right over that little dotted line, and you'll see it turns blue there. And I can make any column narrower or any column wider. I can change the size of those columns that will fit the different content that I'm going to put in it. Don't worry about the size yet, because we're going to add some stuff to it, and then we can change the sizes. If I want to take anything that I've already added, like maybe these sample links, and I want to put them in these columns, I simply grab my link. I'll put it in that area, the left column, and now there it is. It's in my left column. I can put just about anything in there. I'll take my new paragraph, put it down below that one, and now I've got 2 items in this left column, still nothing on the right column. So a quick shortcut for you guys is to right-click. If you right-click anywhere on the page, in this case I'm going to right-click on an empty column, I get a lot of different options. While I showed you the ability to drag widgets from the left by clicking on widgets and dragging them out here, you can instead, which is what I generally do, right-click and do a shortcut, mouse over Add, and from there you can add a new column, you can add new rows, or you can add a widget right here on the page. So you don't even have to go to the left to add widgets. You can just click on, right-click, add, widget below, maybe text, images, buttons, icons, or even more. And now you can add just about any, actually all of the different widgets to a page. We'll just add an image to one. And there you go. So there's an image to a page. Again, if I right-click, go to Add, mouse over Widget below. I'm going to add a widget below where I clicked. I could add a button. Let's see, I've added a button. I can give my new button a title. Is my new button. And where's my button going to link? I can link it to an existing page. I can link it to a website URL, a pop-up, an anchor, a store link, email, all the things that we had before. I'll link this one to an email address. There we go. So now my button is linked. If I want to add another one below that, simply right-click on it, go to Add a Widget below, and go add something new to it. So it's really quick and easy to add all kinds of different stuff to your page just by right-clicking on it and click Add. Add image below, and now I can add another photo. Everything on the page, again, is drag and drop, including the spacing. So if I've added these items here to the page and they're just laying right on top of each other, I can put my mouse over the top of one of them and drag it down. If I want to move one of these items to the left pane, grab it, drag it to the left, and then move it down if you want. If you find that your photos are getting squishy, maybe you want the center photo larger, drag this one to the right, and maybe this one to the left, and now your photo's really bigger in the middle. Or if you want to just make it two columns, well, drag things to the left, maybe drag it all to the left, and get rid of any particular column that you don't like. And now you've just down to 2 columns. So adding columns is the same as adding widgets. Simply right-click and add. You're going to add a column. You can add another one back to it, just like with the one we deleted. And you can add up to 4 columns on any given row. So now I have 4 columns, and you can see everything's getting squishy here. We'll drag some stuff over to each of the 4 columns so you can see how they all stack out. And then, of course, you can play with the different sizes and whatnot to kind of make them all work as needed. These images, of course, are all different sizes, so they're not going to work exactly the way we want. But you get the idea that we can drag and drop and move things around pretty quickly and easily. And then just manage the columns as you see fit. So that's how you manage the content by creating a page, adding widgets to that page, and then adding content to that widget. Let's take this one step further and actually make it much easier by adding what we call sections. If I put my mouse over the blue divider line of any row, you'll see in the very middle of it, I get a little blue dot. And here there's a little blue dot at the bottom of this column. There's a blue dot in the middle of that one. That little blue dot allows you to mouse over it and click on Add Section. And sections are when it gets really fun, because a lot of the pieces of your site can be automatically designed by us and added, and they're just beautiful pieces. They're all templated sections. So if I add section, go to add section, I might want to add something about maybe some text or logos or something about us, our site. Let's go see some of the different pre-designed sections. Something like a landing area, maybe something that shows when something starts. You can simply add this to your page, change the text in the photo, maybe even change the date, and say school starts in however many days, hours, minutes, seconds, and a picture of a bunch of kids coming back to school, and change that to, instead of hack your future, back to your school, whatever you'd like it to be. So you can do lots of different things with these different pieces of content. Look at some of the other pieces of content, these different sections that are already made for you. Again, these are already styled and configured for you. And most of them are a collection of widgets on a single page. For example, this one has a photo in the background. It's got some text here. It's got the counting down. It's got an email widget and a button all in one, and it's all been done for you. So there's really nothing you need to do except simply add it to your page and give it some new text. Likewise, under features, if you want to add something about features or things going on in your school, here's things you guys do. Maybe you put some different services that your school provides. They're already created for you. Simply add them to your page and update the content. So let's see how one works. Let's say we're going to take who we are. We'll just grab this one here and click Save. Now that piece is added to our page that we were working on. You see here's the kind of stuff we were working on above. Here's my new pretty piece that I styled. And now I can just simply click on it. And who is Rob? And we can simply click on the different items, change the photos to whatever we want, change the icons, click on an icon, we can change to different icons, and there's thousands of different icons, whatever that might be. Looks like a rib cage, and that might be something else, or whatever you want it to be. We can change the icons and then simply change the words and the text, and we'll make it our own by changing the text and photos. When you're done, there you are. And now you've taken what was one of the pre-made sections and made it your own. Let's go add some others so you see some additional options. Mouse over any line here until you see that little blue plus up here. When you see that blue plus, click on it, add a new section, and decide what kind of section you want to add. Something about us, maybe some logos, some text blocks, different ways of adding text. Maybe some tabbed content. So you're going to have a lot of different information that you want to be seen just by clicking on the different tabs. You can see there are a lot of different options here where you can create a lot of really cool content, and it's all styled. So all you have to do is add it to the page and add stuff to it. Let's keep going down the list. Here's text and images. So let's say we like one of these. We simply click it, add it to the page, change the photo, change the text, and now we're done. So it's already pre-styled. If you're going to add a team page, maybe a section about your staff members, click the team. Of course, you can change the colors and the photos and whatnot and make it your own quickly and easily. When you're done, click Save, and you are done. Once you've added it to the page, just go back in and change out the photos. In this case, so this one actually needs to be updated. So you can add additional photos to it. Let's go add a different kind of widget to it, or I'm sorry, a different kind of section to it. You can see we're quickly building out our page. Maybe testimonial information, some contact us page. You can build out a huge contact us page that already has maps and a form for them to fill out and things like that for them to contact you. Photo galleries, lots of different galleries where you could add a gallery to a page and simply change out the photos and then your photos would then inherit the styles that have already been created for you. Let's take these photos, for example. I'm going to add that to our page. We'll just go back in here now and update it with our own photos. We'll put our school locker in here. We'll get rid of this person and add some additional photos here. Put that little kid here, and this guy gets to go to that person, and she becomes somebody else, that person. And you get the idea. We can simply change stuff and manage as we see fit. So we can change the title and change the text and all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really easy. And once we're done, of course, you have a page with a lot more pre-styled and really good looking content very quickly and easily by just adding the various sections that you want, then modifying that section. So it sticks to the same principle that we had from the very beginning. Add a page, add a widget to the page, add content to that widget. In this case, we can take a shortcut. We've added a page, and we can add a section to that page. The section is comprised of a widget or a collection of widgets and some content. You just add that pre-styled piece to your page and change out the text and the photos to meet your specific needs, and you're done. So it's a really nice, quick, and easy way to build a pre-styled area of your website quickly and easily. That is pretty much all we have time for today, but we will be doing additional training for the additional features and functions of the site, where we'll be drilling down into some of the specifics of different widgets. We will eventually have a video for every single widget, as well as every single function at some point. That's going to take a little bit of time to get to, but in the meantime, we welcome everybody back to all of the different training classes that we'll be doing every Wednesday at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and that will be at campuscontact.com/training, and you'll find more training links right there on campuscontact.com/training. You'll find the button to click to join the 10 a.m. session, as well as this particular 4 p.m. session. And down below, in about an hour, you will see this recorded training session that we're doing now right here as well. So we'll be posting all of our training sessions here on the site for you to review on your own time, anytime you want. So if you have any comments, any questions, come back to campuscontact.com, click on the support link, and you can email us, call us, hit the live chat, submit a trouble ticket, or reach us any way, any of these many ways that you like, and we'll be glad to help you out anytime. So thank you very much for attending our training session today. This is June 26th at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, and I hope you learned a lot and have a good time managing your content and your website. Thank you very much.